What a difference a day makes. 24 hours. One day, the whole short term rental industry is panicking about Airbnb's new off platform policy. The next, the mood shifts. Maybe it's not dramatic after all. So, what's really going on? Well, it's not just about banning apps or cracking down on fees. This new off platform policy that we're going to detail also is, I think, about Airbnb wanting to have some control over the ecosystem around it, especially as it gears up for its host marketplace launch sometime in 2025. So let's talk about what's actually in the policy, what you read there, what it means for vacation rental managers and tech providers, and where we still need clarification, really. Let me take my hat off. So, the first thing, let's talk about fee transparency, right? We know for a while Airbnb has done a lot of efforts to make sure that people understand what they're paying for, right? So this what the off-platform policy is talking about. What's new here is just a continuation of this. Airbnb writes in a new policy, failing to include any mandatory fees in the pricing fields provided by Airbnb or otherwise causing the total price at checkout to be inaccurate is not prohibited. I mean, kind of makes sense. Was kind of there. It's just seemed a bit spelled out. They defined mandatory fees as utility fees, extra guest fees, pet fees, resort fees, management fees, destination fees, homeowners association fees, and taxes, unless Airbnb collects them. So new, not new in a way. And if there's no dedicated fee field, right? So if the fee you have didn't fall into this list, maybe says all mandatory fees must be disclosed in the appropriate fee field or in the nightly price if there's no applicable fee field. So basically, what it means, you have to roll the fee into your nightly price. That's what's interesting here. Um, Also, as noted in the fee section for pro hosts, I guess most vacation rental managers watching this, you guys are pro host, so using software to connect to Airbnb. All other fees are rolled into the nightly price for guests when they book. So, for example, you can't. I mean, if there's the fees there, one of course it has to be disclosed and can't ask the guest later by email, phone, or through a third-party payment to have one of those fees. So, can you still collect payments off platform? Actually, in some cases, yes, if you are software connected. What I mean by here is that if you use a PMS, a channel manager, or any um, Airbnb API partner that's approved by Airbnb, right? You are software connected. Airbnb says select software connected hosts may collect payment for disclosed mandatory fees and security deposit off of the platform, of the Airbnb platform. Oh, security deposit, let's be clear. There are very few of us who can do that, right? Airbnb is not letting many people do that. But anyway, it's there. And they add in the documentation about fees. You may be able to include certain additional fees, whether collected on Airbnb or offline at your property, in your pricing breakdown through your software. So again, if you've been using Airbnb for a while through a software, you kind of know these rules, right? Again, it's there in a way. Could say that some rules are maybe new to hosts for professional managers. They bit some of leeway, right? So it means you have more flexibility than other hosts, but of course you still have to be transparent. Can't make up fees completely, and it, as much as possible has to be reflected on the price displayed. Now we talked about fees. What about upsells? There's been a lot of noise about upsells. So Airbnb says this under off-platform payment rules. This includes the cost of the reservation and fee payments related to the reservation, e.g., for example, optional fee to heat the pool. So I don't know. So that's the tricky bit. What is then a mandatory fee versus an upsell? Pool heating, is it mandatory fee? Maybe it is. How about an early check-in, late check-out? Um, I guess in this case, Airbnb wants to collect it, and then would you do this again through the your software connected one if you can do this, or do you pay this through the reservation center? It's not completely clear, but I think on the other hand, clear upsells like grocery stocking, equipment rentals, experiences, mid-stay upgrades. I don't think they fall into this notion of fee, right? So I think maybe if things are directly tied to reservation, is can be really done about the guests, number of guests or number of nights, and could really be called a fee. It probably must go through Airbnb. If it's a general experience or add-on, maybe it'll still be fine. The clarification is needed in the sense that it's good that Airbnb or tech providers really find this list to make it clear what's there, right? But I don't think upsells overall are covered in this. Let's talk about another big point: apps, portals, guest access. So, what is really prohibited? This is where people got nervous, right? Do I have to stop using digital guidebooks or guest apps? Let's go to the exact text. Airbnb prohibits asking guests to create a separate account or register on another website besides Airbnb.com for purposes of gaining entry to a listing. Uh, um, and also asking to install the third party app to access listing. So it's big about accessing, right? So having to install a third party app or create an account on another website looks like a no-no, right? Um, but if the app is optional, Airbnb says keyless entry apps and apps that facilitate a guest experience during the stay, like Sonos, Nest, concierge apps, okay, as long as they're optional. Right, let me get again. So there's really something about the access here, right? Through like either directly like getting into a place from even welcome guides, I'm guessing, or some kind of concierge apps. I think all these are okay as long as they are optional. So it doesn't really talk about welcome guides in a way. So it's a lot about access, but right. Additional registration of or installation of additional apps is permitted where it's required for legal or compliance reasons. And hosts must include information about what is required and why in their guest-facing listing description. So I guess smart lock apps are okay if guests don't have to download them. Concierge or guidebooks apps, they are okay if again it's optional and people don't need to create an account. I guess leave their email to access them. Um, Or, I mean, if it's optional, they can probably create an account, I'm guessing, because it's opt-in. Um, Using Wi-Fi, for example, I guess it's okay as well because it's during the stay. I mean, while you're at the stay and you want to access some service and you do need to leave your email, so I guess it's okay. I'm guessing. Legal registration tools, like in some countries, like police, you need to do a police check-in in Spain. Yes, right. But you have to declare this in your listing. People talk about the end of direct booking. So let's talk about guest data and emails, right? Airbnb is clear. Soliciting guests for their email using the Airbnb messaging system or email alias after booking is prohibited, right? Um, Again, it's been a while, right, that you kind of not supposed to send external links or try to collect emails officially, right? And we've all tried to go around this. So let's just say maybe it's more clearly stated. Um, Also, they're clear that selling, sharing, or using guest contact information for marketing communications or signing guests up for contact list is banned. So I guess sign up guests for, I guess, your newsletter is banned. Well, that's interesting. I don't know how they're going to enforce it. And again, here, I'm not sure whether they can actually do this. But it's part of it, right? But at least not through Clearly, the Airbnb messaging system, or using the alias, right, the email alias that you have, for the booking, you can use that to just say, "Hey, opt in now for our newsletter," right? There are again two exceptions. You may use an alternative means of communication with a guest, I don't know, WhatsApp, for example, if requested by a guest after booking. I guess if the guests say, "Contact me via WhatsApp," you can. And again, as we said, right, if it's legal compliance, you may do this. So something I want to talk about quickly about the strategy. I don't want to read too much into this, but maybe it's also about not just fee transparency and enforcing privacy, and maybe again closing some loops here. Um, Maybe preventing some direct booking, and maybe, but it could also be about Airbnb shaping its ecosystem, right? This update could be also about responding to global pressure around fee transparency, protecting user data privacy, but also preparing for its upcoming host marketplace. We expect that only vetted partners will be promoted inside the marketplace, and that may be the underlying message: play by our rules, or we won't promote or even allow you, right? So in that sense, as we anticipate the launch of the Airbnb marketplace for hosts in 2025, let's just say that's probably some clarification, right? Especially as Airbnb has been working with lots of third-party providers to vet them and give them access to their API directly, right? Bypassing PMSs and channel managers. So it would not make sense that from one to another, these services, these apps, for example, guest welcome apps or Upsells or task management, revenue management apps, are suddenly forbidden, right? So again, I don't want to make it too big. Maybe it is some clarification for actually something bigger coming up, right? Which is the host marketplace, I'm guessing. But you know me, I'm always thinking about strategy. Maybe I'm overthinking. Let me know what you think. But what to do now? So check your tools, right? Ask if you're in doubt. Okay, list what you're using as tools. Look whether you think it will fall into this, and just ask your tech provider, right? What does they think about this? Probably right now your tech provider is busy asking Airbnb or checking. They probably haven't answered. Don't worry. If your software connected, use a PMS, or again a product that's already vetted by Airbnb, like connection. Remember, you have more leeway, but remember, you still have to be transparent and comply to the privacy rules. So don't assume anything is banned, but don't assume it's completely as usual either, right? Let's wait for Airbnb's clarification. In the meantime, let's keep our welcoming our guests the best we can, provide them the best guest experience. Let me know what you think. Stay connected. See ya.